Happy Tap Talk Wednesday. I'm early because I got done early and that's what's happening tonight. Yeah, a little before my 8 o'clock start time, but I don't know. It's been getting dark earlier and I wanted to get on with the rest of my evening. So here we are. It's Tap Talk Wednesday at 7:38. Cheers. I hope you've got something tasty to kick back and enjoy. It's a good evening to just be inside because it is cold out there. What's the bank thermometer say? 9 degrees according to that outside. So burr. If you want to keep your beer cold, put it outside, but don't forget to bring it in before it freezes. All right. Let's see. We've got a little Thanksgiving recap, which is that it was good. I was trying to think, I was like, I don't really have a big laundry list of things from that. It was a good week last week. We were busy, we were hopping. And we had some good beers on tap that I think hopefully made some tasty Thanksgiving dinners. We've got a few fun ones and a new beer toy to show you tonight. So I'm going to kick it off with this little number, which is just nice, refreshing, easygoing, and it is one of those beers that is probably definitely the most underrated beer from this brewery, but probably one that they sell the most out of anything else. This is from Toppling Goliath down in Decorah, Iowa. This is their Dorothy's New World Lager. So I think for a lot of people who are maybe kind of like getting to know Toppling Goliath from Iowa, they probably maybe have seen this beer or heard about it around, but it's often like, yeah, I'm not getting that, because you're going to Toppling Goliath to get their hazy IPAs or their big imperial stouts or some kind of interesting sour or something like that. So it's not often looked at as, I think, a beer that for the type of crowd Toppling Goliath tends to draw. It's sort of an everyday drinker. It's just a really nice, kind of fairly bright and sparkly, hoppy lager. It's not super intense, but it's definitely more interesting than just some bland golden lager. It's got kind of a nice noble hop kind of punch to it, but there's also some citrus in there. If I remember correctly, there's a few new school hops that they use in this. It kind of gives it a nice little zing. It's otherwise very kind of light on the palate and finishes pretty nice, clean and dry. So that's a tasty one. Many people are familiar, like I said, with a lot of their special release beers, their limited stuff, the cool hotness, but this one is just a nice lager, and it's good to have those things on tap because you just need just some good, easy drinking beers from time to time too. So that was my first one there, the Dorothy's. The next, we're stepping up significantly. I don't know, I'm gonna do the beer toy now. Rather than wait for later on, we're just gonna get right into it. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. We'll test I can't pour, it's a two-handed pour using this, so I might just have to show you, and then we'll do a little bit of the before and the after. Follow us on social media. You may have noticed this week that we got a new beer faucet on our tap setup. So this one, if you're wondering what in the heck this honkin' thing is, it's from the Czech Republic. It is a side pull faucet, meaning that as opposed to a traditional American faucet, which tilts forward and backwards, this pulls to the side, and it goes in a full 180 degree range. And you can think of the function of it similar to a light switch. These use a little seal right behind here, and when you open it, they're fully on, and when you close it, it's fully off. So it's an on-off switch, whereas this is like a rotary switch, or like a dimmer switch on a light. It will start pouring anywhere along this range, and then right at about the middle is where it's full on. I don't know, dare I try? I just don't have a way to hold it. The problems. Ooh, I wonder if we can. Dare I try this? I'm rigging stuff up live. Okay. That kind of works. Oh, there we go. Now we're talking. Look at that hands-free setup. Okay, so for example here, we've got our beer. The one that I've got on tap, I'll talk more about it, but this is just the functionality of it. So the style of beer, I'll just show you when we're gonna pour it. This is rare compared to our other faucets where you don't want to tap, you don't want to put the faucet into your beer. This one, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put the faucet all the way down in the beer as far as we can. And this thing, we're gonna allow it to fill a little bit of foam and then, pardon me, and then fill it the rest of the way. Kind of the opposite of how we do another beer. So I'll just kind of show you what it looks like here. So we open it part way, and then it gets the foam, and then we kind of crank it wide open. So, and this one, having not poured off of it for a little bit, is a little bit extra foam than what we typically want. But you can kind of see that this has a little bit more of a nice, like really dense head to it, like very rich. Let me try some. And the cool thing about this, check it out. You get the sweet beer stash. So the foam on the beer. All right, let's go back over to our studio over here. There we go. So the whole concept behind the faucet, people are kind of like, all right, what's the deal with this thing? Why do you have it? Why do we need it? Or what do you need it for? It's partially just another way to enhance the flavor of the beer. It's interesting. It's got a cultural heritage to the Czech Republic, which is, you know, one of the sort of meccas of beer around the world. And it's just a way of giving the bartender another bit of control over how the pint is poured. I have to look this up. There's a saying that I had learned from a beer professional in the Czech Republic that amounts to that the brewer they produce the beer, but the bartender makes the beer. So basically saying that even though the brewer creates the beer, it's truly the person who serves it that really makes the experience for you as a person coming to enjoy the beer at the bar. And that's very true. You know, that's why we try and take care to serve our beer just in clean glasses. We clean our tap lines regularly. We take a lot of care to maintain that the beer that the brewer spent a lot of time making is represent as well as possible. So this is just another fun way to kind of play around with that. And there's other ways that we can kind of add a little bit more foam to the beer, because with that degree of variability in how much you open or close the faucet is how much foam will come out. And this is a wet foam. It's different than like your standard beer foam that you get on your kind of standard beer when you get that on the tap. That's mostly air. Like if you ever tried drinking that foam off the top, usually it's like a dry cough, you know, it gets caught in your throat because it's mostly gas. Whereas this is mostly beer. It's really dense foam, and also has the effect of kind of creating a bit of a sweetness in the beer. Whatever the beer is, it brings out a little bit more sweetness, kind of rounds off some of the harsher edges. So that's kind of what it's all about. We'll get into more with the side pull in future tap talks and things like that, but I just wanted to introduce you to that. And this beer right here is the Anchor Christmas Ale. This one is one of the oldest seasonal beers produced in the United States. They've been making this. This is the 48th version of it. And they produce it every year, a slightly different recipe. They feature a different tree on the label every year. And it always kind of falls in the line with generally somewhat of a darker ale with a variety of different spices in it. They never disclose exactly publicly which ones are in there, but they kind of hint at them in the flavor profile. So this one is got some richness, some kind of a little bit toasty, a little bit nutty, but then also has some drying kind of herbal spicings to it, almost like sarsaparilla. You know, could even be a little bit of like orange peel or something like that also in there. It's not overwhelmingly spiced, but it does have a little bit of that cool character to it. And I thought it would be a fun beer to break in our side pull. Traditionally, those faucets are largely used for lagers, pilsners in particular, and we'll certainly pour those on there. But it can be a method to pour any beer, and we'll find out. There's certain beers, I'm guessing, that will really that will really kind of shine a little bit more with that. And it can also just be a way of just pouring a straight up beer, so it's kind of fun too. But yeah, the Anchor Christmas Ale, we've got it in stock. I just tapped it today. And then we also have cases. We have 6-packs available of this year's Anchor Christmas Ale, and I also still have some from last year as well, which might be like, ew, gross, why do you have last year's beer? Well, this Anchor Christmas Ale is typically one that ages quite well, and is fun to have to compare side by side one year over the next. So be able to pick up some of those starting this week as well. Yeah, there's something about just that little extra bit of texture that the side pour gives the beer. It's just kind of a fun, interesting thing, and if nothing else, it's also sort of beer, more of the beer theater, just creating a little bit more of a fun experience here. So there we go. All right, my final beer here, thankfully, this one's a heavy hitter, so I don't want to get too crazy with it, is oh, and it's warmed up just enough. So this one's from Left Hand Brewing, Longmont, Colorado. This is their Wake Up Dead Imperial Stout on nitro. So this one also kind of, it's a little harder to tell in the smaller glass and everything like this, but with the nitrogen and CO2 combination in this style of beer is somewhat similar to the way that the head, the beer foam, the head on the forms between either the side pull or the nitro faucet. There are some similarities. There's definitely nitro beer definitely has a much more of like kind of a silky smooth texture to it, whereas like the side pull, you're still getting some of that carbonation bubble, so it's got just a little bit more texture. So but this one is a big 10.2% alcohol Imperial Stout. There's a lot going on here. It's fairly it's rich and roasty like you would expect from a big dark stout. But then there's also this like dark cherry, there's a fruity kind of sweetness that's present in there too. And then almost like, I don't know, like tobacco kind of on the finish, which, not to like sound all pompous and, I try not to speak about beer in a way that like causes people to roll their eyes more than they need to, but also to be as accurate as I can be, and I think that's one thing that like I've liked about beer tasting versus wine tasting, is that wine tasting often seems like you get to know the lingo, and then you can sit there and kind of put your airs on and speak about how all these different all the different flavor profiles that are there, and it's a way of being sort of more elitist. Whereas I think the cool thing about with beer is you can still be accurate and describe a beer in an interesting way, but you don't, this is not to be discriminating towards wine drinkers, because not everyone is like that, but I think there's more of a assumption of fanciness with wine than there is with beer, and I think really good beer deserves the same kind of like appreciation, and doesn't have to be hoity-toity, but it's fun to be able to pick out different things in the beer and enjoy it, as opposed to just kind of slugging it back. And when you get a big strong beer like that too, there's a lot to kind of process there, so it's a very kind of interesting and unique beer to have. So we're starting to roll into some of our holiday beers. We've got right now the Anchor Christmas Ale on tap. We've got the Southern Tier Frosted Sugar Cookie on tap. And then in the coming weeks here too, I've got a couple more kegs of a couple other Christmas ales. So you know what you need to do, folks. You got to come on in here, and you got to help drink some beer, so that way we can swap out some more lines and get some more of our Christmas beers on tap. So it's shaping up to be a good month of December. We've got some fun events coming up this Sunday. We've got a Puppy Christmas. So if you've got a dog and want to get some photos taken with your dog and with Mrs. Claus, she'll be on hand, just like we did last year if you were around for that event. So that's going to be a lot of fun this Sunday morning from 9 until 12. And then coming up shortly after that, we've got Monty Python trivia which I am just super stoked about. And hopefully if you're into Monty Python, you'll come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of laughs and shenanigans and just a good time. And then we've got we've got some other things that may fill in the calendar as well, but as we kind of lead up to the Christmas holiday, there will be a lot of fun kind of party events going on with the Thirsty Thursday before Christmas, a special Thirsty Thursday Christmas edition on that night, so that's open to anybody. And then that Friday night, our annual screening of the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So just a lot of fun stuff to be had. So I hope you have enjoyed joining me this evening. Yeah, that works. And I hope that you're bundled up, that you've got a fire somewhere warm and cozy to be, and hopefully something tasty in your hand, or perhaps you've been inspired now to go grab something out of the fridge. So cheers. Happy Tap Talk Wednesday, and enjoy the rest of your week.